Gabe bravely served our country, a Navy SEAL, but he was forced to choose between duty and his faith. He stood firm in his convictions. Let's take a look.
Navy SEALs, an elite group known as the Quiet Professionals.
We're kind of like the jack of all trades, so we're doing air operations, we're doing land warfare, and then you get a block where you get to do your diving and your maritime operation stuff.
At home, Gabe has another important title, Dad.
He's so strong and so gentle. It's the perfect combination.
Gabe became one of First Liberty's Navy SEAL clients when the COVID mandate came down.
Definitely was opposed to getting the shot. Number one, it was just kind of like my religious opposition to it.
I felt more angry than Gabe did, just because I've seen everything that he's done, everything he's sacrificed.
Once the mandate came out, it felt like more abandonment. Like, who do you think you are? What do you think you're special? Why are you fighting this? Just do it. This is gonna ruin your career. You're not gonna get, your retirement.
Gabe was given an email that if he questioned COVID at all, that he was considered a domestic terrorist.
As a group, our clients were treated horribly, denied deployment, denied advancement opportunities, housed in unsanitary conditions. One was even told he could not travel for treatment for a traumatic brain injury. That's what led First Liberty to band together with dozens of SEALs to represent them.
I think it's important to stand up for what I believe as a Christian. So that's what we're called to do, is to stand up for truth.
Wow, so I know there were a lot of people in the military that they were trying to force to take the COVID vaccine. Some had concerns, and now we see why, because there have been a lot of vaccine-injured people as a result. And again, that was a personal decision people had to make, but for religious beliefs, he did not want to, and he was being forced to. And so you took the case. What happened as a result of that case?
We ended up winning, but this was about more than just the SEALs, obviously, right? It was everybody in the military. Right. If they had their way, we would have lost 30 to 50,000 military families, some of our very best people.
And these are people who've been trained and experienced that we cannot afford to lose.
For our country.
Yes.
And these, thank goodness, I mean, the SEALs, they pride themselves on being the tip of the spear.
Yeah, right.
That's what they are, and they were the tip of the spear on this.
Wow.
And they said, we're gonna risk everything because we can't violate our faith. I mean, they all had religious convictions not to do it. And the coolest thing to me was after it was, because they were threatened. I mean, they were going to take away their pensions. They were taking away their medical insurance for their children. They were taking away everything from these. And they all had a moment where they sat down with their wives and they said, we're about to lose everything. And every one of their wives said,
go for it.
Stand on your faith.
Yeah.
Don't back down.
Yes.
And because you did the case with the 38 SEALs, then it rippled
We got an injunction that ended up leading to lawsuits and injunctions all across the country. And we saved all these people from being kicked out. And then as soon as President Trump came in, one of the first executive orders he did was back pay on anybody who was kicked out.
That's
so
awesome.
good.
Yeah, so that was the second step that we couldn't win in a lawsuit.
But you were fighting that with a government that was fighting against
Absolutely.
you, right? And and you still won. Was that at the Supreme Court level?
We went all the way up and down, but really the final victory was at the Federal Court of Appeals. But we went up to the Supreme Court, back down, and then through, and won. Not only did we win for these SEALs, part of our final agreement to end the case with the government was that every person in the military would have everything cleaned out of their record, anything negative with regard to this that could anyway hurt their career or their advancement. Wow. And that was really important.
And that would help, that would span across all the different...
every branch, every person.
Not just the Navy SEALs, yeah.
That's right.
What was the total that you saved there?
I mean, it was 30 to 50,000 military families that we would have lost from the military. Some of our very best people who'd all been trained, as you mentioned, and really it would have been a travesty. And of course now, as you've seen, when we have this different approach, not trying to force people to violate their faith, we have a new commander-in-chief. The records are now going through the roof as to all the people who are applying to get in. This is really important to the future of our... If you don't have religious freedom, I mean, people need religious freedom in the military. I mean, we've had a dog tag case we just ended recently where they had scripture verses that the past administration said they couldn't have, and all these things. And this is really important to those who serve us.
Wow, so important.
Before you leave, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, we would love to hear how the Lord is moving and touching your heart right now. So be sure to comment below and then share this video with someone you feel needs it just as much as you did.